The road is long with a many winding tongue that leads us to who knows where, who knows where.
Hello friends, and welcome to our third year of Just a Couple of Guys with Pat Crimmins.
Deep into our third year.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
And yours truly, Ray Rogina, where we talk everything. We're here at the King County Fairgrounds. We're inside the main pavilion. We're going to go into the kitchen. And why are we here? Because we're going to talk about one of the Fox Valley's best kept secrets.
Hidden gems.
Fox Valley Food for Health. And we're going to talk to the two main players in Fox Valley Food for Health, the executive director, Mr. Chris May, and the founder of Fox Valley Food for Health, Mary Fremgen. Then, after we get an overlay of what this is all about, we're going to go into the kitchen and watch some production. The point being, Pat, we're talking about an organization here that provides food, healthy food,
Right.
for people who are in distress.
Right. And I think they also are teaching people and kids how to eat for the future, to avoid illness. Right?
And there's an element of volunteerism here, and of course this valley is known for its benevolence in a variety of ways, and we'll see another example of such. All of that when we come back.
And more.
Well, that and more. After a word from one of our fine sponsors. You stay tuned. Well, we're back here at the King County Fairgrounds, and we're pleased to have with us two individuals who I want to say are the two major players in Fox Valley Food for Health. Chris May, the executive director and the founder of Fox Valley Food for Health, Mary Fremgen, and both of you, we appreciate you joining us here for the first part of this podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Pat's got a series of questions already. He's already greened up here, but I have one out of the gate, and that's to Chris, and that is, what's the mission, the purpose of Fox Valley Food for Health?
Yeah, so the mission of Fox Valley Food for Health is to promote a nutrition-focused community. We do this through two ways. We educate our youth in a better way forward, and we also serve those who are struggling with the health crisis in our community.
We're going to talk to some of those younger people in the second part of our show.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the services that you guys provide?
Yeah, so there's three programs that we provide here at Fox Valley Food for Health. The first is our Healthy Meals program. I mentioned this a moment ago, but essentially that program is we send out free of charge nutrient-dense food to those who are struggling with the health crisis in our community.
Does obesity count?
So actually, most of our people who come to us, about 9 out of 10, have a cancer diagnosis. But so we feed them 12 to 16 weeks free of charge, with hopes that the minerals and the nutrient-dense foods that we're feeding them will help their bodies be restored. So we're focused on healing with that program. The second program is our teen education program. So this is kind of where the magic happens. You're going to meet some of this and see some of this in action later. But essentially what it is we bring in teens from our local high schools. We educate them with culinary skills, nutritional skills, dietary skills, so that they can have a better path forward. Our hope is that this is going to help them from getting a future illness. So it's going to prevent a future illness.
Are those high schools up and down the Fox Valley?
Yeah, so we pull from both St. Charles schools, Batavia, Geneva, and even from 𝐂𝐚𝐮𝐬𝐥𝐲.
Very good.
Yeah.
Even from 𝐂𝐚𝐮𝐬𝐥𝐲, that's where my kids went.
Yeah.
So how many people are you actually able to serve through this process?
Yeah, so this week we'll be serving 90 people. We max out around 96 in our current kitchen.
Wow.
So we serve those 90 people 8 meal items out of this kitchen each week. So that this week comes to somewhere around north of 700 meal items that are going out of this kitchen into the community.
That sounds like quite an undertaking. How many people do you have working here or volunteering or what?
Yeah, so we have 2 full-time staff, 7 part-time staff, and then we have a mass of volunteers. So we have about 135 adult volunteers, 35 teens that are involved in our program, and then we have committees that help us with events and things like that, which you'll hear a little bit more
And you know,
about.
that speaks volumes about the Fox Valley. You know,
Sure.
I've come to learn that not only are they benevolent people in terms of financing, giving, but they're also benevolent in terms of their time. And
Yeah, we've experienced that time and time again. I had a conversation with a staff member today who told me, wow, we have so many volunteers, we actually are maxing out even on volunteers. So we're finding new things for those who want to give their time to us to do.
when you talk about the volunteers that, you know, provide meals and so on, there's obviously a delivery component of some sort here.
There is, so you're talking about our delivery angels.
Well, that's a unique comment. Delivery angels, talk about that.
Yeah, so our delivery angels, so this is really unique in that many of our delivery angels were actually recipients on our program. So they had a cancer diagnosis or
All right.
a health crisis, and so we served them, and then after they got better, they decided they wanted to give back to our organization.
Nice.
So what they do is we try to partner them up with somebody who had a like diagnosis in our community. So one of our recipients who also was diagnosed with breast cancer, for example, we try to partner them up with a delivery angel who had breast cancer. Because what we find is the cancer diagnosis really isolates them, and if we can get them a connection point of somebody who's walked the path they've walked on, it really is giving to them.
So what you're saying is when somebody leaves this program as a recipient of services here, you try to move them right into the program as a helper.
Well, we don't have to move them in. They're coming to us asking us if they can get part.
signing up.
They absolutely are.
That's wonderful. I mean, you know, and where I read somewhere this is one of the Fox Valley's best kept secrets. I'm starting to understand why. Pat?
Well, Mary, obviously you founded the program. Can you tell us the genesis of how that happened and what inspired you to do such?
Well, as a registered dietitian of over 40 years, I believe in the power of food to heal. So I'm going to give a little bit of a background on where I came from so that you can see how this program evolved.
Sure.
I started my career at Lake Forest Hospital as a clinical dietitian, and at that time I was running the cancer unit, and there was very, very little information about research that was available to treat nutrition of cancer patients. And the main goal at that time was really to provide calories and protein and avoid muscle and weight loss. Okay, so that became our friend was mainly hydration calories and also protein. So those were supplemental Ensure Plus and tube feedings and things like that. Well, I worked in that environment for about 7 years, and then moved on in my life, got married, moved on, and in 2007 2005 my father was diagnosed with cancer and died in 2007. And I watched the struggles of the caregiver. My mother was the caregiver, and between appointments and overwhelmed by information, it was a struggle that I had never really seen before. And so what I realized that when a person gets sick, their lives become consumed with appointments, with information, and many times the last thing that is on their mind is their food intake. A lot of times, especially with cancer, and not just with illness, but with cancer, appetites are no longer, and food is they're not consuming enough food.
Right.
So as I started researching again, getting back into cancer, I realized that 80% of cancer patients are malnourished. And 80% of their, research shows that they're malnourished or they're eating the wrong foods.
When you say malnourished, are you talking about bad food choices
Bad
as well?
food choices, not enough food,
Gotcha.
Who is providing that food for patients
Right.
or the family. So the worst problem is mainly that there's worse outcomes, the recovery is much longer. So by in what we started doing, I began working at Living Well Cancer Resource Center, which you know about.
Yes.
And that was after my father had died. In 2008, I started working there and started teaching the cooking demonstrations for cancer patients and their families. And what we found was most people, the biggest question that they had was, what do I feed my family? What do I feed my neighbor who's going through these struggles? And also, the isolation factor was huge because this really affected their well-being. So at the same time, I was working in private practice at a family practice office. And I started seeing that there was a rise in teens, kids, middle school kids especially, obesity, heart disease, diabetes, type 2 diabetes that we weren't seeing before.
Right.
And I came to realize that cooking had become a lost art. That mothers were working,
Right.
that grandmothers were moving off to warmer climates, and kids weren't they were eating mostly microwave foods, a lot of snacks after school, and these were contributing to their health crisis too. So at the same time, the research was becoming really, really strong in nutrition now, supporting cancer nutrition. It was all changing to plant-forward diets. And this was to support not only cancer, but metabolic diseases, which primarily are diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and plant-based foods were showing to help lower all these risks of cancers. So what we were seeing was the phytochemicals and the antioxidants that you've heard about, and the fiber were all helping to reduce these diseases, to reduce the development of the diseases.
I heard something the other day where kids are not getting fiber hardly at all anymore.
Yeah.
And how essential fiber is, obviously. And there's no mechanism for them to consume fiber.
It was very interesting when we started the program that we realized that kids didn't know what kale was, did not know what a lot of the vegetables were that were really providing most of the fiber. People are going into ketogenic diets, which are very low in fiber.
Right.
And our kids eating that way, it's the processed foods
I
probably.
want to ask this question as a longtime educator. Were the schools open to you when you brought this to their attention, the idea that you'd want to have students come over here and actually prepare meals for cancer patients?
Well, that's an interesting point because when we first started the program, which was 2011, we started a pilot program. And there were 5 teens, 7 clients, and 7 volunteers. And we went over to Geneva High School and they let us into their culinary classes to talk to the kids, to bring an interest into our program. They were making macaroni and cheese, they were making ice cream, they were not making healthy foods in the culinary class, but that's where we got our start, was Geneva High School.
Okay, and it rolled from there.
It rolled from there.
You're indicating research that indicates that the diet has a direct causal connection with disease, be it cancer or whatever.
I am, and the more studies that are being shown, the more there is being shown that more than 2/3 of your plate should really be consumed with plant-based foods.
And the truth of the matter is, part of this problem is based on the economy of both parents having to work. No one has the time to cook.
Cooking is
Correctly.
less, don't you think? I mean, this is why we really developed this program. In 2011, I met Susan Lee, who was another founder of the organization, and she was a volunteer at Living Well. She brought to me a program that was out in California. She brought it to my attention. And so a month later, we were out in California studying this program and trying to understand what they did, how they did it, and how they got that many volunteers, how did they get the teens, and what was the process? So that was the CERES project, CERES project in California, in Sebastopol, California. We learned that our community needed this program. We learned that there were 3 problems that we needed to address, and that was change patients' eating from eating mainly the Midwestern diet, which is meat and potatoes and corn, right? To more of a plant-based diet, and educate teens on the importance of the lifelong skills that they could receive from us, and nutrition, which we were also teaching, and also connect the community together in caring support, because we knew that isolation was having an effect on our patients' well-being.
So, and the delivery angels help with the isolation
Yes,
because you put compatible people together and they can start a friendship that way.
exactly.
So outside of founding the organization, you're still involved, obviously, in some capacity?
Yes, I stayed involved after we felt the program was sustainable. I started the gardening program, which was out at Couts Farm for a long time, if you know Couts Farm. But he
It's off
was
by Couts Road.
he was a great farmer who was a great mentor to us, taught us a lot about farming. Penny Newkirk, another great mentor to us. But we were there for a few years, and then I got pulled into Mooseheart by a dietitian who was out there, and they wanted us to work with the kids, and our kids and their kids together. So we developed the gardens back after 2 years. We developed the gardens at Mooseheart, and they're still going on now. And I worked the gardens until we sort of realized the program was pretty sustainable now, and we had a great team of volunteers. And then I was with Chris, I met Chris, having lunch, and we were chatting about the program, and he said, maybe you should come back and bring the band back together for fundraising. And that's where I am now. I've been doing fundraising. We ran a golf outing in June, and we have our big gala on November 1st, Friday night at Eagle Brook Country Club.
Now the word gala is always fun. What does that mean?
It's just fun because we have raffle prizes, live auction, a silent auction, we have a cake auction, we have cake auction.
Let them eat cake.
But it's healthy cake.
Well, it's not really, but we're taking the night off.
Okay. Everybody deserves a night off. That's
It really, the most important thing to remember, it's in moderation.
right.
Yes, so
I understand.
anything in moderation. So we are, it's at Eagle Brook Country Club, and we are looking great forward to this. We're having a band with dancing, and we're gonna dance the night away. So I would love for both of you to take the night off of your podcasts and everything.
I don't know if there's enough room. If Ray and I went, the crowds would be. Do we have security?
Well, we do have security. We'll get security.
Listen, I want the, we'll flash it up on the screen. Let's get the website so we know that people can go to the website. And I've been to it. It's beautiful, and you have all the information there about the dance, the gala.
Right.
And so
it's at Fox Valley, FVFF, Fox Valley Food for Health, FVFFH.org, and all the information is on the website.
Yeah, just click on the events tab, and that'll take you right in.
exactly.
So it's FVFFH.org.
Yes.
Events tab. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I think we're going to interview some of the employees / volunteers / teenage slaves.
We're going to go in the kitchen.
Oh, we're going to go in the kitchen. I didn't bring a hairnet.
We have hairnets for you.
They'll probably have hair.
We'll take care of you.
You need two, it looks like to me.
It's windy outside, just to
All
FYI.
right. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Hello, friends. This is Ray Rogina. Are you looking for the place to be? Voted best live music and entertainment venue by the Daily Herald in 2023? That would be Old Republic in Elgin, an indoor-outdoor hub with classic American eats, beer, and cocktails, plus the best sports bar, burgers, wings, and ribs. Best value? Old Republic. Another good place to be. Well, we're back, and Pat and I have these chic hats, as you can see, because we're in the kitchen now, and of course, when we're in the kitchen, we want everything to be healthy and
Department of Health, right? We're gonna have stuff for this.
well, we have the chef here. I feel like we're in the bear, chef.
Right.
And so, introduce yourself, chef.
Without the yelling.
I'm not much of a yeller.
Okay.
My name's Tim. I've been doing this for 30 years-ish.
Is that right? 30 years.
Yeah, since I was 15. I've been working professionally in kitchens. And then I've had really concentrating on the nutritional, healthier aspect of culinary for probably about the last 12 to 15 years.
And how long have you worked directly with Fox Valley Food for Health?
I actually just started not too long ago. I've been here a few months.
All right. He's on board here, and of course, what we want to talk about specifically is we had a conversation about how all these meals go out to people. Let's talk about these meals and what you're preparing here in the kitchen.
So we have 2 proteins that we send out. One is usually seafood, and then we do something chicken, more poultry. It's more based around the Mediterranean diet. A lot of leafy greens, lean meats.
Rice.
Yeah, that's whole grains. Any of our starches are all whole grain, whole wheat, with less processing, I suppose you'd say.
We have salmon here.
Yeah. So this is actually a sockeye salmon. This is a really, really good salmon. It's a
Sockeye.
Yeah.
Spell that for the record.
S-O-C-K.
Sockeye.
Yes.
S-O-C-K.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. There's a fish out there with a sock on?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. So this is actually very, very good cut and a nice fillet. Sockeyes are really, really nice. They're lean. A lot of good omega-3s and antioxidants.
Very colorful.
Yeah, very colorful. When the skin comes in, or the flesh, when you get it in, it's a really bright, vibrant red, as opposed to more of a pink.
How about the chicken?
The chicken, this is farm raised. We get these in, we clean them ourselves, and everything here is either baked or grilled. Very light marinades to give you really that bring out the flavors. We do a lot of like lemon and different acidity will actually bring out the flavor in the meat, similar to what you get with salt or sugar. It helps bring out the natural flavors of the meat. So
We could talk to them about our friends over at Guido's here. What is it called? The spice people.
How about the salad?
Salads, we go for typically the darker greens, spinach,
I was going to
kale.
say a spinach salad is right.
Yeah.
It's good here.
They're high in what's called flavonoids, which is just fun to say. This was part of the team program this morning, or this afternoon. So what that is it's actually naturally forming chemicals in fruits and vegetables. There's different types of flavonoids, but in the darker greens, there's actually a type that helps to not prevent, but more kind of stay off different forms of cancer cells and everything. It's actually, there's a lot of science in it. It's really cool to read. But yeah, so we stick with the darker leafy greens. They're higher in antioxidants and flavonoids.
And then, of course, we also have soup over here, and let's talk about the fact that that's an important part of it. Not to mention the vegetarian
Yes.
option that exists here as well.
Vegetarian lasagna, we use thinner whole wheat pasta in that, so it's a lot more of the veggies. We really put that in there. We use fresher cheeses. Feta is any of your harder cheeses are actually lower fat content and lower moisture content. So feta, your parmesans, those are the ones that we use. Typically, again, we use the leafy greens, but we'll also use, eggplant, squash, a lot of everything. A lot of what we do is fresh. We have a garden that a lot of these come into, especially this time of year. So it's really, really
I see there's a chicken noodle soup over there, and nobody will ever argue about chicken noodle soup. It's the best. And then you also have roasted vegetables.
Yep. Again, the vegetables come from our garden. Everything is cleaned, cut in-house, roasted off, and then made into a soup. Same thing with the chicken. The chicken is brought in, we clean it, we cut it, we cook it off. Everything's in-house, nothing's pre-dried.
This stuffed sweet potato that I see here has black beans in it, it has feta, and roasted red peppers all laying nicely on top of that sweet potato.
Yeah, sweet potato is very high in vitamins and minerals. They're really good for you.
Vitamin A.
Yeah, and you get your black beans are a good source of protein. Feta again, it's a good cheese. It's a lower fat content, which is nice. Olives and roasted red peppers. I mean, everybody just loves those. Plus, again, they're very good for you. Roasted red peppers actually have a good source of sugar, which is good for brain function.
And I know we're going to head over here to watch how these desserts are prepared, but you have a final product here.
Yes, this was our pillowy pumpkin cookies. I always get that wrong.
Say that again.
Pillowy pumpkin cookies.
Pillowy, very Halloweenish.
And kids, that's what we call alliteration.
Yeah. So
English tie-in here.
yeah, so the pumpkin is pure pumpkin puree. There's no additives or anything. Everything gets made here. Again, the desserts. desserts are great because it's kind of like comfort food. Everybody loves dessert, but not everybody knows it can really be healthy food. And a lot of the things we do here are really neat. So.
When are we going to start going to public and putting this stuff in the jewel?
Well, that's above my pay grade. Okay. Yeah, you'd have to ask somebody else about that.
Well, it sounds really good and it looks good.
I was going to ask him if he has. He's only been here a few months, but you know he's got a long history in this profession. You have a favorite dish? You personally have a favorite dish? As it relates to the mission here.
Oh, well, I was going to say cheesecake. But that
Well, I know. We got to stick with the
We
mission.
can't talk about your first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know, right?
Those were the fan ears.
Honestly, I really like it all. I especially now that I'm older and I have kids of my own, being able to taste the flavors of the food and not tasting a lot of the additives, preservatives. The older you get, I think the more you appreciate it. So me, I mean, I just love good food.
Let's go with the cotton candy salmon. I've renamed it.
Cotton candy salmon?
Yeah?
Hey, we need to take a small break in order to move over here to the production table. We want to talk to a few of these teams who are doing a fine job, and I've been watching them. They're very much committed to their activity.
Reminds me of Lucille Ball, remember that?
Oh, God, yes. All right, we'll be right back.
Want to save on some of the biggest names in streaming on the network made for streaming? X marks the spot. Now you can add the new Xfinity Stream Saver that includes Netflix, Peacock, and Apple TV+. That's Xfinity Stream Saver for just $15 a month. All your favorites, all in one place. Only from Xfinity. For more watching and less spending, X marks the spot. Do it all on the network made for streaming and bring on the good stuff.
Now we're here watching a dessert being made. We're still in the kitchen, Pat.
Still in the kitchen.
All right. And Louise here is overseeing this project. Talk a little bit about what's going on here.
Well, we chopped up a whole bunch of dried nuts and dried fruit and blended them up, and now we're making them into these power balls, power bites, and rolling them in coconut.
And these will serve as a dessert.
These are a healthy
Healthy dessert is part of the whole process. And we're looking at a number of teenagers here from the two St. Charles high schools, and we're going to introduce them in a minute, but I want to say one thing in passing, and that is they're here on a volunteer basis to help out. They're giving back to their community. You can't say enough about kids, teenagers who are doing something of this nature. They are to be commended highly, and I want to make sure I say it to all of you before, Pat went to East High. I taught at East High, and Pat's also coached the mock trial team at North High School. We're very proud of St. Charles and the two high schools and the kind of quality students we have here. With that, could you just give us your first name and which school you're at? What year are you at school?
Yeah, I'm Vinny. I'm a junior at St. Charles North. I'm Norm, also a junior at St. Charles North. I'm C. I'm a senior at St. Charles North. I'm Lana. I'm a sophomore at St. Charles North.
I'm Victor. I'm a junior at St. Charles East.
I'm Bella, and I'm a junior at St. Charles East.
I'm Kara, and I'm a freshman at St. Charles.
And Victor, obviously, is the token male in the group here. But can I ask one of you, just to maybe articulate a bit more about what I said, why are you doing this?
Well, I think it's so important to help these people who are sick to take something off their plate so they don't have to worry about food for their family, for themselves, so they can just focus on getting better.
Anybody else want to make a comment?
Well, I actually I started this recently this year, and I just wanted to kind of like help out the community, do something that can help other people out, like even just.
Are the people from St. Charles North and East getting along? Is there any
Yeah.
friction or anything like that? Any
no
gambling on
rivalry in
games?
sports.
Rivalry in sports, yeah. And mock trial.
How many different desserts, Louise explained this one in particular. Are there other desserts that you have worked on over the course of the last few?
Guys, we made hot chocolate cookies. Those are my favorite. Oh yeah.
Pumpkin cookies are the best.
so they're fun.
And how often are they here?
Once a week.
Once a week, every week. And then beyond that, as we heard in the first segment here, these meals are then by the delivery angels taken to home clients. And some of the clients, after they're done and they have a successful remission, they join you here.
Have any of you guys been able to talk to siblings or parents about volunteering?
We're siblings.
Oh, you're siblings.
Yeah.
She started it and then I came with her.
My mom's actually on the board.
Oh, so you have no choice. I understand.
Well, let me ask one of you to answer this question for me. I'm not trying to stereotype, but I think that sometimes we think that young people don't eat well. In the process of working or volunteering here, have any of you improved your diets from where it was before you worked here?
For me personally, I know before this, I used to eat like a lot of like processed foods, like chips and like other stuff like granola bars and stuff. So being here every week, we also have our head chef Sam give us like a little nutrition lesson at the beginning for about 15 minutes. So that's really opened my eyes to like wanting to eat more nutrition and like healthy and like stop eating as much processed food.
And by the way, I was just going to say, and like the bear, when you address him, you say, "Hey, chef."
Do you think the schools do a good enough job of educating you about health and healthy choices?
Not really.
Not really.
So if you had a chance to talk to the school board, you would say, hey, let's start thinking about a health class that incorporates all sorts of things, right?
All right.
Or selling better things too. They just sell a bunch of junk.
Also, I've been eating a lot of healthy stuff, and whenever there's leftovers, I just take it all and eat it all at home.
I like Victor. He's a man on a mission.
You're selling stuff on eBay, I think.
I asked some people.
Okay. Any final thoughts from any of you as far as it is concerned? For the camera here. All right.
What's the most important ingredient to this? Is the coconut, right?
Peanut butter.
Absolutely. No, peanut allergies. No.
I'll be dead by now.
Are these ready to be eaten?
Yeah. They're ready. Yeah. Would you like to try one?
Can we try one?
Yeah. Yes.
Wait and see if you see.
That is better than any coconut flour I've ever bought.
It's because it was made with love.
And health. And it's healthy. Isn't it good? Delicious.
It's homely.
Listen,
Wasn't this beat hanging out at Starbucks, giggling with your friends?
we'll make closing comments, but I want to reiterate to our audience, we have a fundraiser coming up. We've given you information. We'll do it again in the closing. Very important. You get behind this organization. It's one of the best kept secrets here in the Fox Valley. And we want to thank both Chris and Mary and the staff here for providing us with a very enlightening and enjoyable afternoon at Fox Valley Food for Health.
Fabulous.
Thank you. We'll take a small break and we'll be back to the closing comments. You stay tuned. It's good.
Okay, we're back after a wonderful experience here at the King County Fairgrounds. I was looking for people and clowns and such, but the fair's not here.
The fair is not
fair's
here,
gone.
but Fox Valley Food for Health is here.
That's right.
And I think you have seen through a variety of our interviews and escapades of the kitchen.
Escapades.
That,
Chef.
Chef, that quite a bit's happening here. Pat,
Right.
give me three things you took away from this entire experience.
Well, that there are a lot of sick people that need to eat right, that need to eat, that need friendship and companionship, and so that's one. There's a wonderful spirit of volunteerism in the kitchen, well represented by kids from St. Charles North, St. Charles East High School. Doesn't surprise us because this community is very, very generous. And of course the quality of the food that we've noticed and hope to consume.
We have
Some-
given us some
goodie
bags
bags
to take home. And
What's that duck that's made out of tinfoil?
well, I know you want that sockeye salmon. I know that.
Well, I think maybe we can split it later.
Listen, any non-for-profit organization needs the support of the community, and this is a non-for-profit like all the others that need your help. First of all, as we talked about in the first session there, the big fundraiser takes place at Eagle Brook Country Club on Friday, November the 1st.
It's a gala.
Well, Mary said it was a gala. You questioned her on that. There's
Yeah,
a difference between a gala and
That's
a
huge.
dance.
Yeah, well, there's a moon involved. It's a gala. There's dancing,
There's raffles,
raffles.
so which means there's games of chance.
Well, I don't. Government might be.
There's
watching.
dancing. There's dancing. And anyway, you need to go on the website and take a look at the program and all it has to offer and sign up. And I'm going to give you that website one more time. And of course, Kevin and Paul are always good at flashing that right on the screen.
Flashing.
FVFFH.org. Go there under events and you'll find it. And by the way, let's keep it simple. If you can't make the event, on the website, there's a simple address. And I'm going to see how good my memory is. I want to say it's Post Office Box 532, Geneva, Illinois, 60134. You can write that check and send it along, and they will be very, very grateful for your contribution. My take here today was just to see the joy on the faces of these kids. These kids are here for volunteerism. And that's, of course, I think both East and North do a good job of teaching volunteerism in the community.
Sure.
And they were just moving along very nicely, friendly, gregarious, and they were on point with what they had to do.
Very mature, and seemed to understand coconut. Which I think
The coconut was good.
the coconut was good.
All right, well, we enjoyed our stay here today, and again, thanks to Chris Bay and Mary Fremgen for entertaining us and having us here today, and thanks to all the kids in the background, and Chef!
And Chef.
We don't want to forget Chef, very, very
He's a
important.
wizard.
He could be on the bear, I think.
That's right.
All right, so for and by the way, security is not important here. He's still dressed in his finest,
Hey, fella.
his finest identification, our crafty cinematographer, Kevin Ketchum. Thank you again for always doing a fine job of setting us up. For my trusty partner here, Pat Crimmins,
Yes.
and ready to go home and have 3 or 4 healthy meals.
A little less for the wear. Ray, after a certain age, your body is a wonderland.
People don't want to know about
biopsies.
People don't want to know about your ailments.
Still good looking, though.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying, they don't want to know about
I
your
know you didn't
ailments.
say it, but you can adopt that as true.
I will. It's a given.
Okay. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
This is Ray Rogan wishing you all a very pleasant week and weekend. And,
We're in October now.
So we are.
Ghouls,
The hunt,
ghosts,
and the hunt for October in baseball.
candy bad. Is there good candy?
Is there?
If it's
Mary, is there
green-
good candy? Mary's just laughing over there.
Green candy.
We gave you our desserts.
Oh, that's
That was, and that was a healthy dessert, so I didn't feel bad.
Kids, I'll be handing out coconut balls if you come to my place.
All right, and Pat will not tell you his place, but he will be giving out coconut if you can find it. Wishing you all a pleasant week.
That's right.
Pat and Ray,
Ray and Pat.
just a couple of guys. So long, everyone.